Following program has adult language and plenty of spoilers. Listener, be advised.
Ready for the next phase then?
Of what?
Recording.
Okay.
Okay, what do you want to talk about now?
Yes. You want to send us in again?
Is this Marvel Superheroes Podcast?
What are you doing to me? Just trying to ring your chimes, tall, dark, and toxic. Leave it to me to poison your chances, eh, Venom? Don't count me out yet, Spider-Man! I don't need spider sense to tell me I haven't seen the last of him.
I want to eat your brain.
The Marvel superheroes have arrived! Captain America,
Fantastic Four.
Iron Man,
Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Marvel Superheroes Podcast. I'm Lee Shipping. With me is
Diabolu Frank.
And
Mr. Fixit.
today we're going to talk about...
The Venom cinematic universe. So I'm going to start with Mac because
Okay.
I think this will be the shortest version. Tell me about your history with the character.
Hated it.
No, the character Venom.
Hated it.
In the comic books?
Hated it.
Now, you bought, because you told me that when you first started collecting comic books, you bought some of those enhanced Spider-Man covers with the foil webbing and all that kind of good
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah.
Venom was tied into some of that.
Yeah,
wasn't he?
maybe.
He meant nothing to you?
No, Venom was on my shit list of I hated all the muties because they infected my superhero comic books. They got all the good artists, and then Venom got into that too, where he became that like hot anti-hero, wannabe hero who got all the fucking good artists, and all the
It's like
superhero
the-
stuff couldn't get anything good.
The first miniseries is Mark Bagley, right?
Probably. Sounds on brand.
And I know that Kelly Jones did one of the miniseries. I think Tom Lyle did some of that stuff. Liam Sharp, I think, did a Venom miniseries. That would have pissed you off for sure.
Could be.
Yeah. But also you had that one guy who did like a bunch of the stuff, like Greg Luzniak, was that his name? Where he's just a really like parody of Image, so imagey wannabe, thirsting for Image kind of thing. He did like a bunch of those, if I remember correctly.
Could be.
Yeah. So for me, Venom was sort of like my turning point with Spider-Man. I'd been collecting Spider-Man comic books up through until I'm going to go with Amazing Time Frame, probably around the Amazing 280s or so. I've chronicled a lot of that stuff in my Comic Reader Resume podcast where, Spider-Man was always around. I always saw the cartoons. Comic books were around. I bought some of the comic books. I was a fairly regular reader of the comic books for a long time there. And then a little bit before Todd McFarlane comes on, I just kind of lost interest. My main pivot point was the wedding of Peter Parker and Mary Jane. I just started to lose interest in the book after that because you didn't have any more relationship drama. It was just, new married people stuff. And I just wasn't that into it. But the artists started to change and McFarlane came in. And I thought McFarlane was just a little too cartoony for me. It's like, I appreciated it as I look at some of those covers, how detailed they were. I could see, wow, there's lots of lines. But because he had that sort of that inflated quality to him, that everybody looked like they were like a little bit overinflated, it just didn't really grab me. And I specifically remember seeing Spider-Man 300 on the stand and all the little 300s on it, the McFarlane cover, and I think he was in the black costume, wasn't it? Was he in the black costume on
so.
Amazing 300? Or was he back in the red and blue by then? Okay. And it was double size, if I remember correctly, which means it cost more, and it was packed with McFarlane art that wasn't quite grabbing me. And it's funny too, because he had done Hulk by that point, if I remember correctly. Yeah, okay, it was a black costume.
Yep.
Okay, good. And I liked some of the Hulk stuff that he had done. I didn't see the Hulk stuff that often on the stand, so I didn't have that many opportunities to pick it up. So I didn't completely hate Todd McFarlane, but just something about the combination of McFarlane on Spider-Man just sort of turned me off. And I never really collected the Spider-Man books that much from that point onward. That's just kind of where Spider-Man lost me, and they never really got me back. And so Venom is, for me, this guy. I remember seeing him. I remember flipping through the books like, oh, hey, look, there's a guy in the black Spider-Man costume. He looks kind of cool, but he's basically just a big, muscular version of the black Spider-Man costume. I'd already spent my time on that. I was done with that. And it just never really brought me back. And I also remember like seeing some of the covers when he got more popular. Particularly, to me, it felt like Eric Larson actually made Venom more popular than McFarlane had. Because I always remember the stuff where he's got the big mouth full of teeth and the tongue. And I remember the first Toy Biz action figure where you press the button and he said, I'm going to eat your brains. And that's the stuff I remember. But he always felt like he was somebody else's character. Like that was something for people who would come after me. He was not part of my time. So, Mr. Fixit, how about you?
Wait, I'm still talking.
Oh, you.
So, I always liked, I like the Venom imagery, like especially the Wizard #9 cover. I fucking love this cover.
Bart Sears.
Bart Sears.
Plus, that was the issue where they announced Image. So that one's always been a big one for me.
And then there's the
When
other
they had
one.
the big interview where everybody was saying what they were going to do and stuff.
And then 18 with Spider-Man.
Also
awesome
Bart
covers.
Sears.
But I love the Venom imagery, but yeah, I never got into I just could never get into it. It was never my thing. And then I remember they were even like sticking Venom in people's books, so he got crossed over into Iron Man a couple times to give Iron Man a Venom bump, and I just fucking hate that shit. Go away from my books. Anyway, on to Mr. Fixit. What are you gonna say?
So,
Can I please point out, too, before you get started, that you're wearing a Marvel Age t-shirt featuring a Todd McFarlane Spider-Man on it, so it's kind of appropriate timing.
Thank you. I aimed, I shot, I scored.
Available at your local Burlington Coat Factory.
For $7. I actually was following it. So I read Secret Wars, where Spider-Man met the symbiote. I remember I still own, I'm pretty sure, like 90% of the run of McFarlane on Spider-Man. I followed that run. I remember reading the Venom stuff. I remember reading the Larson Venom stuff, where I get spotty because I remember, so at that time, that's when I met you, I followed the artist, not the writer. And so if McFarlane was drawing it, I was buying it. If Larson was drawing it, I was buying it. Certain artists I followed. I was never a huge Venom fan. I actually enjoyed Venom more when he was with Dark Avengers and he had taken over Scorpion and they're feeding him scrolls and shit. Because you know me, I like the more fucked up Marvel side. So that's where I really got into the early Venom stuff where he just wants to eat Spider-Man. It got boring to me real fast because Spider-Man already had a rogue gallery of villains to fight that all wanted to kill him one way or the other. The only cool thing about Venom was that at one time it felt like the symbiote was like a scorned lover and wanted revenge, which I was kind of, that's kind of cool. But besides that, it was just kind of like, okay, Eddie Brock's running around. He's jealous because Parker ruined his career. And, Venom, I remember buying the Vault comic. You remember that big oversized prestige book? Because I saw Venom in it and I thought that was kind of cool. So, I followed Venom, but I was never a huge, like, Venom fan. I liked when they started moving the Venom symbiote to other people and other personalities. So, I bought, like, what was that series where the symbiote jumped onto a woman?
Is that the Shriek one? Or no, okay, wait. Well, yeah, I think I know. That was one of the Greg Lusniak ones from around 96 or so.
Yeah.
And they had one of the covers where they were really showing you, this is Venom as a woman.
Yeah, and you see like the old honker. Yeah. So I like that stuff. And then honestly, reading Venom, I liked Venom, but Venom didn't go far enough. Then Carnage popped up and I was just like...
we're going to get to Carnage.
Oh, no. But,
don't go there just yet. So I'm going to cut you off.
Well, let me finish on my Venom. Okay. So I liked where like Venom was part of the Dark Avengers and they're using him more like a brute weapon. And I like the fact that the symbiote would keep its host alive and heal them over and over. And almost, I liked it. I want to say there's parts of it, because again, it gets spotty because I would read Venom stuff and then walk away and then come back and walk away. And so after a while, it's kind of a gumbo of Venom in my mind where story arcs and certain ideas get mixed in. And so I'm like, did McFarlane write this? Or was this later on with like some other series where like, it almost felt like the symbiote was a drug and the host needed him and the host was dying. Like, he's fucking fiending when he doesn't have the fucking symbiote on him. I wasn't really big into the fucking Agent Venom stuff. I thought that was just kind of goofy. I kind of tuned out of there. I have not read any of the newer stuff where he's fighting Null and all that shit. I think they kind of got away from what made Venom cool, where they're trying to make him like some kind of primordial god that's in the universe and he's part of some giant glob of goo in the universe. Like that stuff kind of, I liked it where you just didn't know where it came from. And it's just, now you can bring all these symbiotes and they all have these different attributes, which are kind of cool and they're all different and different personalities. I like that. I'm trying to think, like I had like Lethal and Lethal Protector. Like I remember buying that series. Like you
have some kind of weird or was it you that had some weird version of that first cover where it was all black or something? It said like none of the red foil was under it and it was like some big chase edition or something.
I had multiple covers of that. Like I wasn't a huge Venom fan, but I don't know. I did like I could see the attraction to him, and I did like some of the aspects of it.
This does remind me. We went to my kids were at my office during one of these fucking holidays or whatever, and we went to Third Planet, and one of my kids picked out I think it's called Return of the Venomverse that just started coming out. It looked pretty interesting. Probably not really child appropriate, but whatever, they got it.
Oh, no. That's why I want to touch the Carnage stuff, because I actually...
We'll get there.
So in this Venomverse episode, it's like all the Avengers get killed. And there's one scene where they go up and then Iron Man's standing there and they're trying to like get Iron Man to snap out of it. And somebody hits a button and makes the suit open. And it's just like this. It's basically like he had been blended inside and all of his guts and shit come pouring out of the Iron Man armor. And my kid's like, what happened to Iron Man? And I was like, we gotta get to the parts.
I'm like, fucking metal.
And they're all blaming Hulk. So I think Hulk's kind of like the main star of it in the first issue. Because
Now I gotta go read
because
this
Hulk's
shit.
the
God damn it.
because they think that the only one who was strong enough to do these things, like they find Hawkeye and he's like pulped, like all fucked up and shit. And it turns out I think it's a symbiote jumping from Avenger to Avenger, and as the symbiote leaves them, it's their.
Because I won't like what kind of turned me off is when they did that whole thing where like the Marvel universe all had symbiotes and they're all fighting and I was just kind of like, I'm gonna go ahead and check out here. Like I think I like off this ride now. Thank you. I've been on this roller coaster for a while. I think I'm gonna jump off here. And so I kind of tuned out there. But you saying that shit, I'm just like, oh, that brings me back to was it Imperfect? Was it the Hulk?
Future Imperfect?
Like I like those into the universe stories. Of course, the Maestro's amazing. I like the last Avenger story. That shit's fucking sick. Ruins, which you got me hooked on. That's my bread and butter. That's what I like. I just didn't like when they like turned him into an I really do hate the term anti-hero. I know, even though we need to do a Spawnometer because he is an anti-hero. And I've actually read more Spawn for some goddamn reason. I have no reason why. I sat there one day in my room. I know it's a side story. I sat there in my room one day and I was bored. I was supposed to be working, but I was bored and I had my Spawn trades there. So I just picked one up and I just started reading. I'm like, hey, this is like, if you want something numb and dumb, not bad. So I blew through a couple of trades. So we'll get back to that. But I see the draw of Venom. The new stuff, like that stuff that Max said I want to read. But the last stuff, like Fryho traded me. He bought all those fucking Venom books, like the one where he got wings and shit and all that stuff. Fryho bought them to read them, and then he was just like, you can have them. And I'm like, okay. So they're sitting in my room. There's like fucking stack of like 8 trades of all this Venom shit that's happening, where I think he has a kid. I tried to read like the first one, and I was just kind of like,
Yeah, if I remember correctly, the kid's the current Venom.
Is he?
Yeah, I think that Eddie Brock is the current Carnage, and his son's the current Venom.
The last one I read,
everything's a remix these days.
The last one I read was where Eddie can hop around symbiotes, but they're working for him, like they're almost like automatons. So he jumps, like he can control them because I guess he's like the Venom god. Or I read like 1 or 2 issues and I'm just like, this just feels too fucking weird. Like I like weird, but this is like weird. Like this is to me like we ran out of road before and we're going off road here, and not everyone's gonna dig this. Or maybe I'm just an old man now and like get off my lawn and I want my old Venom back. I want him eating Spider-Man's brains or turning Tony Stark into fucking pulp in his suit.
He's bringing his issue up, so hold on.
What? Awesome. See, what else can I talk about Venom? I did have the Venom toys. I bought the old one where it had all the multi-heads on his back and you pull a little lever and all the heads would pop up. Shit, I think I bought that to your shop, didn't I?
I don't remember having much of the Toy Biz stuff, but it's possible. We sold a lot of Spawn stuff, McFarlane stuff, and stuff we could get caseloads of, and all those little independent publishers and stuff. But Toy Biz, I don't think we would have to trade or buy those from other people because we never had an inside track on getting those from any kind of dealer.
Jesus Christ, man. I guess this was never going to be a collector's issue now. I mean, I appreciate that it got read and beaten and blended.
They're not the age where they take care of their comics, all right? Calm down.
I mean, okay, well, it's Al writing it. Al, was it Ilwing or?
Al Ewing?
Yeah, Ewing. All right, right off the bat, this is going to be an amazing fucking book. I don't know what that man does or what deity he prays to that gives him great ideas. His is by far next to Peter David. Now, Peter David is the Bible of the Hulk. That is the holy Bible of the Hulk world. And I'll fight any other Hulk fan on that. But this man here, an apostle to that book. Yeah, all his shit, his Hulk shit. Thank you for that. The trade, by the way. I fucking devoured that book, dude. I sat down and I was like, I'm going to read it in bits. I read the whole goddamn thing in like 2 days. I could not stop reading it.
That's like 50 odd issues too,
Yeah.
right? Yeah, that omnibus.
Dude, I just burned through that fucking thing, dude. You know what? I'm like, it took like 3-4 days, but I was reading at least like a quarter of the book every day. It was fantastic. I now want the individual trades because I've now come to realize those are a fucking pain in the ass to read. They suck to read.
Yeah, you've been complaining about the omnibuses to me. I still like the omnibus format. I still get use out of it, but I will put it on a table. I will put it on a bed.
Oh, that's what I did.
You know, that little desk I have like you're reclining right now. I would not be reclining with an omnibus on my belly.
The desk I have in my kitchen, that's where I read it. My wife was like, "Why is this big book on the little desk?" I'm like, "Cause I'm reading it." Because I would read and then put a bookmark and then slide it to the side and just leave it there. And then when I like the next day I would pull it aside, it was like I was opening a Bible. I opened it and prayed at the book and just started reading and reading. Fucking phenomenal. So yeah, this is gonna be amazing, dude.
Well, and I love that stuff with the reference books like Who's Who and Marvel Universe, official handbook of Marvel Universe, where you've got like a whole volume right there. So you just have to flip to the page you need. I love that. For reading a story, an extended story, not always a fan of that format. Just depends. But it is really nice when it's just all in one place and you don't have gaps and you have to figure out where that trade was and stuff. I like that.
So this series is Venomverse Reborn. I don't know what I actually said it was earlier, but I don't know if I said Return to the Venomverse or something ridiculous.
Yeah, no, it's Reborn.
Okay.
Is that Paul Pelletier? No, who is that?
I don't know. I'm not a big fan of the art, though. Oh, dude. That is...
It's gory, dude.
That is fucking... Disney let this shit go out? Wow. That is brutal, dude. That is fucking brutal.
Yeah, I was like, don't show your mom.
You gonna buy the rest of the series, or?
Yeah, I mean, because he was like, what happened? What's going to happen? I was like, I'm actually kind of curious too, dude. I might pick up another issue or wait for it to come out in a trade or something.
Danilo Beirut. Okay, I don't know these modern guys. Yeah, that was one thing too you're bringing up, the Eddie Brock factor. And one of the reasons why I tried to have an interest in Venom was because he was tied into the Sin Eater story arc, the death of Gene DeWolf. Because he was the reporter that was trying to bring in the one guy who ended up being the fake serial killer, the guy who was pretending to be the Sin Eater and wasn't. And he got basically, it was like a Dan Rather situation where he got, when he was proven that he had picked the wrong guy to be the serial killer, he like lost all of his credentials as a reporter and he went down the tubes and stuff. And that's why he hated Peter Parker. But he's got that same problem that I have with like a Kyle Rayner, where he just happened to be in the back alley where the symbiote was draining off from the church when Spider-Man got rid of the suit. You know, that it was just happenstance those two got together. So there's nothing inherently special about Eddie Brock. And since he's a big thug for the most part, he doesn't bring anything to the table besides hating Peter Parker. So, and I guess maybe the morality comes in at some point. But yeah, you're right. I did read all that Secret Wars stuff, you know, and that was actually part of the problem is I was already getting tired of the stuff with the suit and how it was basically wearing Peter Parker to run around at night. And he was constantly exhausted because his body was still in action, being controlled by the symbiote. And I had the one issue that I got from Cookie Crisp as a mail away, where he finally realizes that the Fantastic Four have to use like Sonics, and then he's running around in the old FF suit with a paper bag and the kick me sign, which turned into an action figure. So yeah, all that stuff. But
I remember that.
Again, it just felt like this vestigial thing. It's like, I'm done with that now, and now you're going to have it continue on to this whole other situation. So, Mac, did you ever see the Venom movie?
Nope.
Any of them?
Nope.
You've never seen any of the Venom movies?
No, dude. I'm not going to see the Venom movies.
No.
So tell us why not.
I think who's the dude that plays
Tom Hardy.
I think Tom Hardy sucks.
Fuck you.
I found him to be extremely annoying and a really shitty actor, and I've got I don't care about Venom, and I don't want to see the dumb Venom movies.
Did you like Mad Max? Fury Road?
Fury Road? I mean, Fury Road was okay, but not because of him. Sorry.
Anyway.
So, Mr. Fixit, did you see Venom theatrically?
Yes.
And what did you
three.
What did you think of the first one?
It was all right. It wasn't great. They were trying to do the Marvel thing, but not the Marvel thing. Trying to think. Like, trying to remember the first, because the first one is the one where. Hold on. It's been a while since I've seen them.
The first one is where everything fucking happens. So, like,
well, that's where the suit comes down and
So he's a reporter. He's going after the Elon Musk wannabe guy, the Indian dude. He's trying to nail the dude. Like the guy who's sending him to do this wants him to play it straight. You know, it's been requested. They want the credibility that Eddie Brock as a reporter brings to the situation, which is already the thing that irritated me because Eddie Brock was always a shitty reporter. But anyway, and he goes off script and he accuses fake Elon of being, getting involved with stuff that's killing people and harmful to people. And he gets his career torpedoed and he goes on the tubes. And in the process of doing that, one of the evidence that he had to the law, even though he never even brings it up, he got evidence from his lawyer fiance who was working for Elon Musk and Indian Elon Musk. And so she knew that she'd betrayed him and she lost her job. And she said, I can never trust you. We're never going to get married. Fuck off. And then jump 6 months later and he's in San Francisco and he's a loser. And he gets a tip from one of the scientists at the lab where they've gotten a hold of these symbiotes from a space mission. And so he goes to investigate, and that's how he gets in. He gets, what do you call it when the Venom and they merge? What do you call that? The intersymbiosis, I guess. So anyway, so he gets the suit, and then he starts going through all the process of like the metabolic imbalance that it's caused by his relationship with the Venom. And meanwhile, Jenny, what's her name? Jenny Swain. What's the name of the actress? She has the higher pitched voice. She used to date Captain America. I loved it because she was the Bernie Rosenthal. He hit Steve Rogers, but then they busted up and he married the Latina instead.
Oh, I don't know.
Okay. Anyway, so she's trying to help, but it doesn't work out. And she ends up getting killed by Indian Elon Musk. And then Eddie and the ex-fiance and the ex-fiance's current boyfriend or fiance, the doctor, They're all trying to figure out what's going on with the Venom symbiosis and what's going on with Elon Musk.
Eats the lobster in the tank.
Right, all that kind of good stuff. And then eventually he gets captured by Elon when he's separated from the symbiote. So the symbiote merges with the ex-fiance, and she's able to help bust them out and save him from being executed.
Rampage, right? Or the big symbiote is the one that's going to fly in to call down the rest of them.
Eventually Elon merges with one of the symbiotes, and they're going to try to call down all the other symbiotes, and they go on a space mission, and Venom is able to sabotage it, and it blows up.
Yeah.
And then they continue on the relationship after that.
Yeah.
So that's the first movie.
And it was okay. Thank you for the recap.
Sure.
It was like, literally, I was watching it in my head the whole time you were performing it. Minus the sound effects.
Yeah.
I mean, I thought it was okay. It wasn't, it wasn't moving the needle either way. And like, in terms of like, do I love Venom or hate Venom anymore? It was a fine movie. They actually got him right compared to fucking Spider-Man 3 where fucking Topher Grace is playing him. And it's just this really weird.
Topher Grace was playing evil Peter Parker. I'm sure Sam Raimi. That's how he saw it.
I actually saw someone did a great thing where they took that footage and they turned the symbiote red,
Mm-hmm.
and if you played him as Carnage, kind of was cool. The sharp teeth and shit. I'm like, okay, that's Carnage. That was cool. I wish I could find that footage again because I thought that was kind of neat because they were just like, if you reimagined he was actually fighting Carnage and not Venom, the movie works a little bit better. But besides that, I mean, I thought it was fine.
Yeah.
The second one.
Well, so I'm really surprised to hear you not being that into the first Venom movie because the first Venom movie is the best one. Spoiler alert, that one's good. The first Venom is worth watching, dude, and it's really made worth. And honestly, what's even crazier about it, I have the same problems that you have with Tom Hardy. I dislike Tom Hardy in a lot of stuff, especially as Bane. He makes all the Venom movies. His performances in all those movies make those movies because they're so weird, such weird choices, and because he's doing both voices and playing off of himself, it's kind of masturbatory. But at the same time, it's just like that's Venom's voice for the rest of my life now. Nobody else can do the Venom voice. Tom Hardy is the Venom voice as far as I'm concerned. And I love the weird homosexual context between the relationship and stuff. But also Michelle Williams is the best Gwen Stacy, even though she's not playing Gwen Stacy, but she's got the look down. And I love how fucking game her character is. Because she's like, everything she says is right. Like she's a sensible person. She makes good decisions, but also sometimes she has to go and save her ex-fiance from the evil corporation. And she gets that shit done too. And she kind of has fun doing it at the same time when she's merged with the Venom stuff. I've never liked Michelle Williams more than I did in these movies. And certainly I've never liked Tom Hardy as much. And they're fun. They're funny. They have really he has great rapport with himself. He has pretty good rapport with some of the other actors. There's some really good character moments. I don't think the main villain is worth a shit. And I don't think the story overall is worth a shit. But there are so many great set pieces with Tom Hardy playing around with the symbiote shit that it totally makes that movie. And I've seen it twice now. I watched it once within the last few weeks in anticipation of recording on this. And then I watched it when it was first like hitting cable. And I assumed that the first time was kind of a fluke and I wouldn't like it as much the second time. I think I might liked it better the second time because it held up so well. I absolutely recommend watching the first Venom movie. It's pretty sweet. And it's largely down to Tom Hardy.
No. Continue your podcast.
Thank you. I mean, I'm actually going to give it another shot again, rewatch it.
Okay. So now, Matt, if you have no relationship with Venom, I assume you have no relationship with Carnage.
Only that I know, didn't he come out, Dave Michelini create him with Bagley? And
yeah.
So I'm glad he got shined for that because he's an Iron Man guy. So that's, I'm very happy that he had other legit shit that he ended up doing. Beyond that, I don't care.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
He
was another one that, like Venom, got super hot shit because he's a serial killer and he's got a symbiote too, but he's even more evil than the other symbiote guy.
And the one's big and
he's even more anti than the anti-hero. He's a full villain now. And, I mean, that's cool, but just never got into it.
Yeah. With me, I honestly, it was almost like a speculator thing where I knew they'd announced this new Venom variant thing. And, Spider-Man had been popular for a little bit. And I liked Mark Bagley. So I was like, okay, I'll give it a shot. So I read at least the first issue that they introduced Carnage in. I had it for a while. I eventually sold it. And I might have got another couple after that. I've never been a big David Michelini guy, so it didn't really do much for me. Bagley's art looked pretty good, but I didn't care about it apply to this situation. And in particular, Carnage always implied to me a much more grotesque, darker, fucked up artist than Mark Bagley. Mark Bagley's just too clean and too smooth, too nice. I don't believe him when he's trying to do dark shit. And so it just didn't really grab me that much. And then he just, again, he was always like extra, extra. I'm so crazy. I'm such a serial killer. You got to take me seriously. And I never really could, especially with the dumb fucking red hair, the ginger shit.
What was his name? Cletus Cassidy.
Cletus Cassidy, yeah. So how about you? Were you
I think
around when Carnage was released?
Wizard always fan cast Woody Harrelson, right?
And he eventually got cast, yeah.
Isn't that what it was?
30 fucking years too late, but yeah.
Now, where y'all fucked up is when we went to that one convention and I got to meet Kyle Hott and I brought up his Carnage book, which was just fucking brutal. Like, I remember asking him, like, how did this get printed? I wish I could remember. He told me the story of how, like, the book fucking went under the wire. Like, no one was really paying attention. Because in that, there's a scene where, like, you see the world through Carnage's eyes, and he looks at a grocery store and they're like selling abortions and stuff, and like, just, it's brutal. And I remember him telling me something like along the lines like the story just kind of went under the wire, like no one really, because it was a one shot, so no one really paid attention, and then it popped up, and apparently some mom had bought it for her kid and saw it and like fucking freaked out and went, and they started pulling the book as quick as they could. So luckily I got two issues, because the first one was like, I'm reading this one, the other one is for prestige, never touching this ever again, because I was like, there's no way like they're ever gonna fess up to it. It's a fucking great book. I can't remember the story. I just remember, I think
here's what I remember. I believe I was at my first comic shop when that one came out. I don't think I was at the comic shop where you were and I were at the time. And it had a foil cover, and it was Kyle Hott's, and that was the reason why I was most interested.
Mind Bomb, I think it's called.
Sounds right. That sounds right. And I'd liked Kyle Hott's ever since I saw him on Cold Blooded back in the North Star days, and so I tended to pick up stuff that he did, or at least look through it, because he did a lot of Ultraverse stuff. I wasn't gonna buy Ultraverse even for Kyle Hott's, but I crack it open. It's Warren Ellis script, as I recall, and it's got the red foil cover, so it looks like it's gonna be like, collector bait. And I started flipping through it, and it's just so grotesque and so dark, and there's so much male nudity in particular. And I think it takes place in an insane asylum, and Cletus is breaking out. He's tormenting one of his doctors and stuff like that. And I'm like, how did this get through the censors? And I think there was actually a warning sticker on it of some kind, or some notation of it being for mature readers or something. But from Marvel in the mid 90s, I could not believe that made it through the process.
Yeah, and so that was my introduction to Carnage. But even I saw Carnage as a one trick pony type thing, where I was like, this is gonna get old fast. Like, oh, I want to kill Venom, and I was like, oh, this is gonna get old super quick. So I think I stuck with it for a little bit. Carnage USA, where he's going through the Midwest killing people or some shit like that. I mean, it was interesting, but I was never like, oh, I need to read everything Carnage pops up. Which I did meet quite a few of those people, and they were kind of like, school shootery kind of feel to them. They're like, a little weird, because they're like, oh, I thought I brought up like Mind Bomb to somebody, and the guy's like, oh yeah, I heard about it, but I never got one. You need to read it. And I'm just like, yeah, dude, I read that one, and I was good. Like, I moved on. I'm cool. The movie Carnage, I like Woody Harrelson. God damn it, it's just, they shit the bed so bad on that one. Like,
wait, they made a Carnage movie?
Let There Be Carnage. There's 3 Venom movies. The second one has Carnage in it.
Okay, but it's one of the Venom.
It's Woody
trilogy.
Harrelson.
Okay, yeah. I thought that they had spun off and he just had his own movie.
No, don't expect that to happen. Naomi Harris, who was Moneypenny in the more modern Bond movies, and she was in 28 Days Later. She played Shriek, which came out of Maximum Carnage, if I remember correctly.
I think so.
And that's one of those things where I had to sell those as a retailer, so I would toss through them as they come out, and it just was interminable. It was years and years of that Carnage stuff and Clonage stuff, and I watched the sales slowly, taper off on all the Spider-Man stuff. You had a brief boost by Ben Reilly becoming Spider-Man, and then doing the hologram, the holo animation cover, and then it just went right back down again, and they finally just did away with all that shit and just started trying to rebuild Spider-Man. There's so many fucking characters. So too many characters, and especially a character that's tied into Venom but has sonic scream powers. That really seems like a bad combination of people.
I mean, it was kind of cool that it was like where Venom was, I guess, repopulated asexual, and Venom was escaping, and it just kind of threw its spool on a fucking table and ran off.
Go Web.
Yeah, go Web moment, and that's how Cassidy became Carnage. Was basically Venom just kind of on a table and moved on. So I thought, okay, that was different, because I really thought they were gonna do some shit like, oh no, it's a part of Venom, and the personality kind of overrides whatever the symbiote is, and then someone gave me the issue where they showed like where Venom is escaping, and you see the little, I guess, spool mark on the ground, and Cassidy's touching it, and it I guess his body, and he becomes Carnage. I was like, oh okay. So, but yeah, the movie,
they call that a bukkake. That's called a bukkake. The bukkake verse.
Go Web.
So the movie, what happens is,
hey, let's get back to the movie. Tell me what happens in the movie.
Okay, you want to recap this? So they'd already set Johnny Depp as the Stinger of the first movie, where, it's Woody Harrelson, way too fucking old, way too old. And of course with a wig, because he's also way too bald at this point. And there's an animated sequence where they're showing you that he and this other girl had grown up together, and they had this huge, like, super tight bond. He was very protective of her, and he'd kill for her, and vice versa and shit. And they show them as like late teens or early 20-somethings, and they're like trying to separate the two of them. And there's a conflict over it, and the girl ends up getting shot in the eye, so that's why she has one like blind eye and one eye, so you can see. But she's assumed dead, and so she disappears for a long time because she's in some government think tank. And then meanwhile, Cletus Cassidy goes on to become a major serial killer, kill all these people, and do some Zodiac killer type bullshit and everything else. He finally gets caught. I think he's on fucking Alcatraz. And the first movie ends with Eddie Brock going to interview him because that's the only person that he's allowed to interview him, because he's now become sort of a cult figure. And Woody Harrelson bites Tom Hardy, and that's how he gets, like, he manages to lure him close to the cage, and he bites him, and that's how he becomes Carnage. Is I guess he gets some of that Venom goo from the bloodline into himself, and then he becomes a Venom too. But he's a red one. Oh gosh, he's a red one. He's way more dangerous. And so over the course of the movie, he breaks out the Shriek character, and they're hanging out together. But the problem is that now that he's combined with the symbiote wants to kill the Shriek character, where Cletus Cassidy still loves her, and he's dressing like a goofball, and he's just mugging for the camera. He's just way too fucking old to be playing this part. And then they're recycling a bunch of stuff in the first movie about the love triangle, sort of kind of quadrangle, between the Venom symbiote who loves the ex-fiance, the Eddie Brock who also loves the ex-fiance but is like resigned to them not being together again, and then the doctor character that's the current fiance or current boyfriend who actually helps him and is a kind of a good guy, so it's not one of those deals where they turn him into a douche to set up them all getting together in the end. And there's a whole extended sequence where they separate Carnage and Eddie Brock because they're mad at each other, and he's trying to find other bodies, and he's burning through those other people's bodies because you have to have the right body chemistry for those two to interact and be able to do that sustainably. If it's somebody else, they just die. So basically Venom is going from body to body killing people, and we're supposed to forget that part and still treat him like he's an anti-hero. And eventually everybody's fighting everybody else, and they've captured the fiance, and the doctor guy is like trying to help because he wants to get his fiance back too, and actually is kind of a key element in getting things resolved. But then eventually they do manage to kill off Eddie Brock and the Shriek character, and then they do the whole thing where I think they set up the crossover with Spider-Man and the singer for that one, right? Is that the one where Eddie goes on the run and then he ends up bopping into the Marvel universe off screen, and he's gone for a period of time, then he comes back and he's missed some time and going into the third movie. But yeah, there's still a lot of stuff in the second movie that I liked because I enjoy the chemistry between Tom Hardy and Michelle Williams, and I enjoy the Venom voices and all that kind of stuff. But every time they went to Carnage and any of the Cletus Cassidy stuff, it just tanked the movie. So you had like maybe half of a decent movie, and then the other half was bad to middling.
You give it way too much credit. It was horrible.
Yeah, it's not something I'm in a hurry to watch again, but I didn't hate it either. But it was sloggy.
Out of the three, it's at the bottom.
Maybe we'll talk about that. So, do you have anything else you wanted to say about Let There Be Carnage?
They shit the bed on that one. He should have been a serial killer. I think
he was,
but not really. Like,
yeah, he was pretty killery. He was pretty lethal. He was just so lame though.
And then like, I mean, now the battle was a little bit cute at the end where like there's a part where Carnage has all these tentacles pop up and Venom was like, "Oh shit, it's a red one." Those are the bad ones, and so they had its cute moments like that, but it just, I don't know. I mean, this was directed by Andy Serkis, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was another thing I wanted to talk about too. Is there stuff in that movie that could have worked, but there was just this flatness.
Yeah,
like everything was like technically proficient, competent, but there was no energy.
Yeah,
you didn't get a sense there was any kind of like improvisation or any like things that were really lively. It felt like they were coming right off the script. And it wasn't a particularly good script. Yeah. So it was just very baseline. Serkis should not be directing movies.
Because you know how sometimes an actor can punch up a dialogue because they feel the character. They're in the character's head.
And Hardy did co-write the second movie, which I think was probably to his detriment as well.
I like Hardy. I like a lot of the stuff he does. But I do think that my biggest issue with comic book movies sometimes is the people who write them are not fans or don't understand the characters. They're just kind of like, well, if Venom was an alien, and they're like, but we have all this lore. No. See, no. I hate when they do that. And I feel like maybe he did that too, where he's like, I read a couple of Carnage books, I get it. And I'm like, no, you can't.
He didn't do a Robert Downey Jr. on this stuff.
Yeah. You need to go fucking full method. You got to go, from Tropic Thunder?
Yeah.
You never go.
You don't use it.
You never go full.
I I don't care who is the president currently. Don't go there.
But yeah, so I just like you. I agree with you. There was a flatness to the movie.
Yeah.
Like now that I think about it, it just felt by the numbers. There was never any. No one punched up anything. No one actually. It had moments of
Mostly with Michelle Williams. I thought she was great in that one. I really like that character. She's so game. She's so into it. Like it's one of those things where she's trying to do the right thing.
Yeah.
She's with the doctor. She's got her career back on track. But the allure of Venom and getting involved in these adventures, she's just kind of into it. She can't help herself. And I love that tug and pull that she has with herself about getting involved with this shit again.
Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, Shriek is lame.
Yeah.
All that stuff is just bleh.
Yeah.
So I guess we're ready to go into the third one now. Third one I might have actually had to pay for maybe, or maybe I saw it on Netflix. I don't know. But I was anticipating watching it. I watched the other two. I'd never seen Let There Be Carnage before. And thankfully I didn't pay for that piece of shit. So the third one.
What's that one called?
Huh?
What's that one
The
called?
Last Dance.
Yeah, and it got memeified, which didn't help because in the meantime, it's like, okay, well, I kind of know how the movie fucking ends. Thank you, meme people. Yeah, what do you think of the third one? Do you want to tell the basics of that one? That was pretty fresh. You remember that one, don't you?
I remember. Okay. So at this point, everyone thinks that Venom is gone. Still think he's gone.
No, I don't think so. They're chasing after them because they think that he killed somebody. And
was it Knob or what are the fucking
Null,
Knob, Cobb, whatever?
Yeah.
He's apparently trapped in this goo world where his symbiotes had at one time he ruled the symbiotes. They turned against him. They trapped him in a goo world, and he has these weird cockroach creatures that can jump through portals and apparently are just giant garbage disposals. Like
he's kind of like Hela. His backstory is basically the same as Hela from Ragnarok.
Well, yeah, I guess.
Where he was the king shit, and then he went too far, so they try to contain him. But now he's getting loose again, and nobody can stop him.
Well, he never got loose, but he sends out these fucking garbage disposal creatures that they basically will put you in their mouths and then spit you out their ass in at the exact moment. So it's like they're like giant wood chippers. And apparently there's a key to free Knob, and if they can find a key, he can escape. And they don't know which symbiote has it, and it turns out it's Venom. But the only time that this key gives off a signal is when Venom's in full Venom force, and it sends out like a beacon, and these fucking roach creatures can see it. So Knob sends out his roaches across the universe to find his key. At this time, Venom is running around being the anti-hero. He's killing people, like eating heads and shit like that with Eddie in Mexico. They go to a fucking dogfighting ring, and he like eats the dude's heads and frees the dog. But Eddie had come back to their universe. Like Frank said, he had popped up into the Marvel universe, comes back, and the cool thing with the bartender was the same dude, just like different haircuts. They did that whole, in one universe, you had a mohawk. In the next universe, you had a fucking emo haircut. Because on one day, you listened to the fucking Cure instead of fucking Slayer, and that changed your universe type bullshit. So the bartender is kind of your metric here to let you know what universe he's in. He's back in his regular verse, or wait, fuck, that's where I get confused because they leave a piece. Yeah, Frank. So let's go ahead and put a pin in it from here.
This all sounds terrible.
I'm trying to remember because he leaves a piece of his symbiote in one world, and I think that's how they're gonna. Yeah, that's right. He goes back to because he leaves a piece of symbiote in one universe, which I'm assuming is gonna be the Venom in the MCU, and he goes back to his universe, and he's running away. The Venom can kind of feel these roach creatures, and Eddie and them are traveling. They tell him not to turn to Venom because they can track him. They're trying to get to like the other part of the country. He attaches himself to a plane. The roach creature pops out, scares the shit out of Venom. They escape. At this time, the military has apparently been capturing symbiotes, and they take them to some fucking underground base and shit. And there's one scientist with her brother who are like twins were running, and they got struck by lightning and shit. And like the chick has like electrical scars, and her brother was gonna be a scientist, and so she decides to become a scientist because to live his dream. And this one of her lab partners always has a fucking Christmas tree ornament on it. It gets goofy. But when you go to the military base, it's like an Area 51, and they're slowly taking it apart. But of course, they're hiding the real aliens underground, and they have, for some reason, when they're getting rid of equipment, they have these giant vats of acid that they just kind of spill on the equipment to vaporize it.
Okay.
So yeah, it's telling you what's gonna happen. So they go. Venom is trying to run. These creatures are chasing him. Eddie befriends like this hippie family. They're giving him a ride. That part's kind of cute with the hippie dad and shit. They're driving. Eddie's trying to get. I don't remember why Eddie's trying to get to the Area 51. 51? Why was Eddie trying to get to Area 51? If Frank would hurry the fuck up, we'd know.
I assume it has something to do with Null, like they're trying to investigate. Yeah, they're trying to investigate that because they know that the shit seekers are after him.
The cockroaches.
And they can sense anytime that he's Venom. I'm not sure. I don't remember why he has to get to Area 51. All I know is it's weird because there's really like two movies going on. There's the movie where it's a fun movie where the fuck up who's been acknowledged in canon as a fuck up. Both of the Venom is the fuck up of the Venoms, and Eddie's the fuck up of the human beings. And they're doing a road trip and they're hanging out with the Asian chick from the convenience store who's been in all three movies, even though that doesn't make any sense. And here they somehow don't get around the Michelle Williams character, who's much missed. But it is fun when they get the guy who played the lizard to show up to be the hippie guy that's helping him get to Area 51. And how that's the stakes are the family get tied up into that shit. And that's why Venom's got to be a hero and go save them and shit. So that's a funnish movie. But then you have this whole other movie where you've got Keely from fucking Ted Lasso as a scientist who's whose brother got electrocuted on a beach one day.
Kaylee?
Yeah, and he gave her electricity power. She's doing an American accent too. It doesn't go over very well.
She's the most British-looking woman I've ever seen in my life.
Right,
How's she doing?
Governor, what you talking about?
Yeah, and then she's hanging out with Chiwetel Ejiofor, who's
The chick with
basically
the Christmas ornaments.
the Thunderbolt Ross of the Venom verse. Now.
Shout out to Chiwetel Ejiofor.
Lab assistant that has the Christmas tree ornament, or
Right, they got her in there too. Yeah. And I was hoping you knew enough about the Venom lore to tell me who the fuck all those Venoms were, because the final act takes place at Area 51 as it's being decommissioned, and they've got this liquefier thing that's destroying like old alien artifacts and shit like that. And then Null's people come in, and then everybody starts getting venomized, and there's 15 bajillion different maximum clonage Venoms running around, including the Christmas tree Venom. These
a two-headed Venom.
Yeah, I assume these are all from all that Venom-versy bullshit over the last 30 years.
Haven't
but you don't know who any of those people are either. And me as a know-nothing fan, I thought that the one that was green metallic looked cool, but I don't know who any of these fucking people are.
Yeah.
And it just becomes a big CGI spectacle toward the end for the most part. And then, of course, ultimately, the main bad guy gets liquefied in the liquefier machine. It was Chekhov's liquefier. And then Venom has to sacrifice himself at the very end.
Venom protects Eddie.
He's like holding the creature down while they're getting liquefied, right?
Well, no, he captures them all, like the roach creatures. He catches like the roach creatures inside of him. He walks and then gets them to pour acid on him so that he can destroy the creatures. Because again, if Venom dies and the key's destroyed.
Oh, you forgot about the Codex, dude.
I don't know.
So they had the fucking Man of Steel Codex, but instead of being in Kal-El, it's in fucking Venom. And that's why they specifically have to have Venom, because Venom's the one who's got the fucking Codex that'll allow Null to get free and unleash all the Venoms all over the universe.
Yeah, he said that.
Yeah,
okay, good. They even had to use the word Codex. Like, at least try.
Yeah. So Venom sacrifices himself. He ends his life.
And that's where you get the meme of, well, I'll miss you, my buddy, or whatever the fuck that shit was. Yeah.
I kept waiting for Venom because at the end.
But Chiwetel Ejiofor, general guy, does find a sample of symbiote at the bar at the very end just to say that, we can still come back and do more of this shit if we really wanted to.
But I thought that was in the alternate universe.
No, it was the bar. It was the bar in our universe because that portal closed when Venom came back, even though he didn't do anything while he was gone.
So did he leave?
What about Chiwetel Ejiofor?
He's got the last remaining symbiote on Earth that we know about.
Chiwetel?
Well, he's got it in a jar. It's not actually part of his being.
Got it.
He's not going to run around being a Venom yet or ever, probably.
Gotcha.
So so that was another one where there were parts of the movie I liked okay, and there were parts of the movie that were kind of lame. I do think it was better than the second one ultimately in the long run, but it really suffered from the lack of Michelle Williams. I really needed her character.
But it was better than the second one.
But it was ultimately better. Even though it's corny as, like, this is a movie where it's all about people making bad decisions to move the plot forward for no good reason. Like Eddie feeling the need to venomize himself so that he could dance with the chick from the convenience store who happens to be in Vegas at the same time he's in Vegas, and they have to have a dance number with music accompanying. Yeah, it's that kind of movie.
Very Joker 2.
Yeah.
Did you ever see Joker 2?
No.
I got past the animation part and then decided I might rip out my eyes if I go any further and stop.
Right on. Was Chiwetel Ejiofor in that one?
Huh?
Was Chiwetel Ejiofor in that one?
The what now?
Chiwetel Ejiofor. Was he in Joker?
I didn't watch the movie, dude. I literally stopped.
La vista,
I watched
dude.
like 8 minutes of it.
The title sequence or something when they do the animation? Okay, so that's the joke, I guess.
Yeah, I didn't get through fucking like 8-10 minutes of the fucking movie.
I wonder if Chiwetel Chiwetel Ejiofor was in it.
It was so
Continue with
bad.
your podcast, sir.
I think that's pretty much the end of it. It's like we're disappointed. We're disappointed that we didn't get any kind of interaction between Venom and Spider-Man, but that happened once back in the aughts, and people didn't like it when that happened anyway. Not really necessary.
In regards to The Last Dance,
Maybe we'll
I think I'm quoted on one of these podcasts saying I thought it was in a fucking bomb and it looked stupid, and you argued with me. It does sound like it was stupid, but I actually think it did make money.
Yeah, I think it did okay.
So I was
full.
half wrong.
It was declining returns. The first movie made surprising amounts of money. The second movie made slightly less amounts of money, and the third movie made significantly less amounts of money, but still plenty more than what they put into it. That's what you do. You make a movie so that you can make money off of it, so you don't spend as much money as humanly possible, so that it can't make that much money afterwards. You know, these things cost like $150, and they do a minimum of $300. So
Globally.
well, I think the way it was, I think the first one made somewhere between $800 and $900 million, and the second one made like $500 to $600 million, and the third one made like $350, $400, something like that. But if you spend $150, that's profitable. So, and there's ancillary, they're gonna be streaming that shit. There's a fan base still, so it's gonna do fine.
Yeah, and all the Chiwetel Ejiofor fans will also watch it.
He was just so wasted. I'd love to see him play a character that matters, but he keeps popping up in these superhero things and not doing anything substantial that anybody cares about, including playing some random general guy.
Mr. Fixit, what else did you want to talk about Chiwetel Ejiofor?
Who is that?
Chiwetel Ejiofor was the assassin dude from Serenity.
Oh yeah, fantastic. Loved him in Kinky Boots.
He was a Doctor Strange, played Baron Mordo.
Yeah. Great in Kinky Boots though.
Also was in the last Venom movie, The Last Dance. Do you guys want to talk about that?
Okay, so were you going to call anything on Thunderbolts before that comes out, or are you just going to wait and see how it turns out?
I'm gonna wait because I think it's gonna be their version of Suicide Squad without killing the whole squad.
Sounds horrible.
Actually, James Gunn's Suicide Squad is fantastic.
Absolutely not fantastic. We did a podcast on it. It was definitely not fantastic.
I loved it. Seen it multiple times. Even the fucking Creature Commandos was great. Fucking G.I. Robot is fucking phenomenal. Did you watch that at least?
No.
Jesus, dude, you're a DC fanboy.
I didn't even finish the first season of Peacemaker.
Really?
No.
I could see that. Peacemaker's one of those acquired tastes.
Yeah. When I realized that Creature Commandos was going to be Suicide Squad with monsters, I was like, nope. I noped right out of that. I was expecting when they announced that it was going to be a period piece. It was going to actually take place in World War II.
Yeah.
It was going to set up some groundwork for like the history of the DC universe. And I said, no. We just decided that we can't do it with humans anymore, so we're going to do it with monsters. And these guys are going to appear in current movies. I don't give a shit about the Creature Commandos in a modern context. I still don't understand how the hell Frank Grillo is supposed to be the father of the dude from the other two Suicide movies. You know, it's like, how the fuck that even? Fuck that shit. Not into it. I hope Superman doesn't suck. I'm a little on the fence on that shit though.
Really?
Yeah, I'm gonna see it. I'm 1,000% gonna see it.
I won't lie, dude. I got James Gunn's. I love James Gunn stuff.
Yeah.
I've watched all his majority of his movies. I've played a video game he wrote that I didn't even know, and I've never seen him shaken. He always, he knows how to talk the movie talk. He came out and he was like, if this movie doesn't kill, I might not be able to do everything else I want to make. And that to me was kind of like, whoa, I wish you never said that, because I initially walked in thinking, oh, this movie's gonna kill. Like, it's gonna kill. It's so different. But then after seeing the Fantastic Four trailer, I'm just kind of like, ooh, like they kind of pulled off the whole retro look. And I know Superman's trying to go for that retro a little bit.
I don't know that it's retro. I think
It's going to get sabotaged. It's going to get sabotaged by the Snyder cult.
Think so?
That's part of it, I think. Yeah. But another thing, like, it's just so many things. Like, how many things can you pack into this movie before you just lose sight of Superman?
I thought it was a little weird that he has a thing for kaijus. The second kaiju monster to pop up in
Kaijus and Superman are fine. He's got to fight giant things. He's Superman.
I don't know.
Who's he do? Fight businessmen all the time? It's ridiculous.
Starro
Titano.
was cool. I don't know this creature.
Well,
you know how long it's gonna be
what we were seeing in the ads, I thought that was Solaris, wasn't it? From DC 1 Million? Okay. My thing is, like, I think it's very curious that nobody is talking in any of these trailers. You know, it's like, I want to hear people talking.
That's true.
Yeah, I didn't think about that.
The other thing is, like, they had that extended version from CinemaCon where it's like the first 5 minutes or so. And it's literally the shit that we already saw in the trailers, but just longer.
The dog is dragging him through the
that was the trailer we went and saw the Minecraft movie, and the trailer was basically the first where it's the extended laying in the snow, calling for crypto.
So it's more crypto, and
then
it's more
the bots take him in to get him shot with they're saying he's got all the injuries or whatever, and then it shows the few slow motion where he's got his arm around his dad and he's saving that kid in slow mo,
which is the exact
bullet
same
time
stuff.
stuff. It's this, it's the same thing.
So the only time I can remember that ever fucking working was the Dawn of the Dead remake, because the first 5 minutes of that movie or or whatever length of time it was for the preview, that's the best part of the movie.
Are you talking about like on TNT when they showed like the first 10 minutes? Yeah, I remember that.
That worked worked, and that movie did
that
really,
was
really
like
well.
super intensive,
incredible,
like
yeah.
adrenaline driven. Yeah.
But
Who made,
every other time
who
they
made
tried
that
to do
movie?
that-
Who made that movie? Who made that movie?
Snyder and Gunn. Yeah, interesting. Yeah, but it's like every other time they've tried that, like most recently with Craven, and I remember like they did that with Serenity and those ones. All those movies fucking bombed, and because they don't have that 5 to 10 minutes of just the hottest shit, the hypest shit that makes you have to go see that movie. And so when they did that with Superman, I'm like, that's a bad sign. When you're trying to show me the first 5 minutes of the movie and it's still not really grabbing me, I'm worried. And Superman was never in James Gunn's lane, and for me, it's like I want to see him level up and be able to do a Superman movie because he's never shown me anything that lets me think that he's capable of doing what needs to be done with Superman to make that work. So like he said, he's either going to nail it or it's going to be another fucking Superman Returns kind of situation. And Superman doesn't need those kind of hits, and DC doesn't need those kind of hits. And I'm just afraid that that's what we're going to walk into. That it's going to be just okay, or it's going to be this overstuffed mess with softened fart jokes. You know, like
Do you think people are just tired of Superman?
I think people are tired of superheroes, and you have to give them something more than just plain superhero stuff to get them excited. And like you were talking about with Fantastic Four, this is a family movie about, you know, how they're dealing with having a baby come into the world and dealing with like these are astronauts who are like the only heroes of their world, and it's the 1960s. There's just all this stuff that makes you interested in it as being something besides a superhero movie.
No.
You know, there's something for the nerds like us to go see, but there's also stuff for normal people that, you know, and it's not, it doesn't seem like it's overburdened with lore and stuff. Where Superman, it's already like, you don't even know what the hell's happening in the movie from the trailers, and it's not that good kind of, ooh, I can't wait to see what's going to happen. It's more like, this just seems like a jumbled mess of scenes. You know, it doesn't feel like it's anything that's going to go.
Yeah, there's like Hot Girl and who's the other dude?
The Metamorpho, and Guy Gardner and Mr. Terrific, and the Authority's going to be in this thing. It's just like there's all these people that are going to be in this thing. Where are you going to have room to do anything with Superman? You know, are you going to have room to actually tell a Superman story? And again, they're leaning so hard into crypto. It's like a little worrying. It's like it feels like they have more confidence in the dog than in the hero. So yeah, we'll see how that goes.
I think I told you guys when the first trailer I saw, Crypto was a little cringy. It was a little cringy, but I don't know. I think it's going to piss a lot of people off who want the grim dark Superman. So I'm actually okay with that. So I don't know. It's I think it's going to be fine, but is it going to be enough to jumpstart this new DC universe? I don't think so.
Yeah, they want another B, and I don't think they've got to be there. Yeah.
No. So
well, hold on. We kind of jumped something here.
Sure.
What did you think of Minecraft?
I thought it was okay.
Because I'm figuring you're in the theater for the kids, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah, dude.
Did they go fucking ape shit?
No, because they're not on TikTok. That's what fueled all the people.
Okay.
What do you call it? Rocky Horror Picture Showing it or whatever.
Yeah.
It's because they leaked a bunch of these clips on TikTok apparently like months ago, and they've become these like runaway memes on TikTok. So that when he yells, whatever, fucking chicken jockey, they're supposed to throw popcorn at the screen or whatever. So if you saw it opening weekend, all these kids were waiting for that scene, even though the movie, it's not in any of the commercials, but they know it from the TikTok clip. Nobody did that shit at our thing, and really, like for some reason, whenever I saw the scenes on TikTok, not the clips of it or whatever, like it seemed like it was a more grandiose thing, but I think it's because all the people were yelling it and throwing popcorn. Because Jack Black's delivery of it is like not anything. I don't know. It was like really weird. I kept expecting these big time moments. Instead, it was like kind of lame. I don't know. It was okay. But both the kids today, because we saw that 2 days ago, and we watched Transformer 1 this morning. Yeah. Transformers 1 this morning, and they both said that Transformers was way better than Minecraft. So, and that was in a movie theater. And this was at our house in the living room. So I don't know. They thought it was okay. I thought it was fine. It was at least entertaining.
Okay, I just kind of wanted,
and it wasn't super long. I think it was like a little over an hour and a half, maybe. It wasn't super long, so we were in and out.
I just wondered because you brought it up, and I was like, "Oh shit, you saw Minecraft? That's something." I mean, I should have figured you'd see it because of the kids, but just caught me off guard.
I still don't understand. Like Jason Momoa looks so bizarre in that movie. I don't know if he's getting lip injections or what. Dressed in all pink and he's got long hair, but he does look like he's got he's got guy liner, and it looks like his cheekbones, something's going on, and then it looks like he's had lip injections. He looks weirdly feminine in that movie. It's very bizarre. I couldn't stop staring at his weird face the whole time, but he kind of sucks in it actually. And then Jack Black is just being Jack Black the whole time, which
it's kind of,
you can take a little bit of, but
every movie he does, he's just Jack Black.
Yeah, he's just Jack Black. Whoa, doing the same shit, and then he has they're gonna have him sing 2 or 3 times in the movie, so you got to strap in for fucking peaches or whatever. You know, it was fine, but like I don't think anybody was like cracking up or anything. It wasn't like, I don't know. And I don't play Minecraft, and the kids don't really play it. Yeah. Play Roblox because it's free. So I don't know.
We saw Companions last night. That was actually a really good movie.
I don't know.
I highly recommend on HBO Max. The one where well, I don't want to give it away, but it has Jack Quaid in it, and he's becoming one of my now favorite actors to watch. Like I really want to see Novocaine now because of this movie. Because I saw him in The Boys and never thought he had range range, and then I saw him in this, and I'm like, oh, this dude got range. Like, yeah, he can go either way. I'm like, okay, I'm on board now. His dad's back.
Yeah, he gets a lot of shit for being a nepo baby or whatever, but he works his ass off. I like him. I haven't seen him really much in anything other than The Boys, but I appreciate his performance in The Boys. So
yeah, I
seems like a good dude.
I saw Novocaine and swore it was a really good movie. He's like, dude, it's one of those movies you don't expect, because when I saw it, it looked dumb. I'm like, oh, what, a guy that can't feel pain? Why do I feel like I've seen that movie in the 80s? I feel like I've seen a movie like that where there was a comedy where the guy felt no pain.
Yeah, it sounds familiar, doesn't it?
Yeah. So when I saw that, I was like, oh, I don't care. But a buddy of mine was like, no, it'll actually catch you off guard. It's actually really good. I'm like, okay, well, I'll have to give it a shot. And after watching Companions, I'm like, okay, I'm on board. I'll check it out.
Is that like a Mr. Nobody thing where it's sort of tangentially part of the John Wick universe, or?
I have no idea.
Okay. Now, Mr. Nobody part of that, or is it just that they share creative people?
I think just the creative people, because I think they're coming out with a sequel with that too.
They are. I'd like to see those two fight though. That'd be cool.
I like Nobody. I thought it was actually
I really do. I've only seen the first John Wick movie, and I've seen Mr. Nobody, and I like Mr. Nobody, so it's pretty cool.
The John Wick universe is great.
I did not expect Bob Odenkirk to be the action hero that I wanted, but I enjoyed that movie.
Yeah. I haven't seen the ballerina yet, so unless has it come out yet?
Not yet, no.
Okay, good. I thought it already came out in.
They just came out with the last trailer a week or two ago, so where they're really hyping. Oh, by the way, she's going to fight John Wick, so come see the movie where Anna de Armas is going to fight John Wick. So yeah,
I don't give a shit about the John Wick movies. Hey, when are we going to start talking about the Jason Statham cinematic universe? I want to talk about the Beekeeper.
It's all the same guy, right?
Wait a minute. I love the fact that
I'm totally joking. We do not need to talk. Please don't talk
the same movie.
Please don't talk anymore about this. I was joking. Please.
No. I saw the Beekeeper.
I got my hair cut a couple months ago, and I guess she's like a huge Jason Statham fan, and I made a joke about the Beekeeper right before it came out or whatever. I guess this is now several months ago, and she was like legitimately like, oh yeah, we can't wait for it to come out so they can go see it. And I was like, oh, I should tone. She's got scissors near my head right now. I should shut up. And keep all my sarcastic Beekeeper comments.
It is very much a Jason Statham's movie. And when I saw the trailer for Working Man, I won't lie, I thought that was a Beekeeper too. I was like, they made a sequel to it because he's walking around. Because when I saw it, the volume was down, and I saw him walking on a construction site, and I'm like, oh shit, they made a sequel already?
That's how I prefer all my Jason Statham movies, with the volume down. Except for Snatch. All the rest of them, they can...
With all due sarcasm, given the current state of shitter and how many bots and people who clearly have never listened to the podcast are on this list: Permanent, Marvelite, Maximus, Followers, A1R Extreme, Amy Ginger Hart, Angelica 1946, now live on KS, Batstick, Bert Bernard, Carlos Digital, David the Producer, Elisa McCausland, Engineer Nerd, Flickering Myth, Isaac Hall, JD Barker, J.E. Frederick, James Gavesey, Jonathan Wilkins, Kimmy D, Lily Reinhart, Marvel Star Wars from Empire to Jedi, MCEU, Meme Stealing Raccoon, Nikki Brown, Noor Jahan, Podmatch, Project Management, Roger Preeb, Saeed Ahmed, Simon Legan, and Tim S. Keepers of the Favorites Flame include Captain Entropy, who wrote, "This was a lot of fun, especially the parts where I was mentally yelling my opinion at my phone." The Comic Crush, DC Dave, Derek WC, Gunner JB395, Ibrahim Yilmaz, Idol 96, The Irredeemable Shag, Jarrett Keene, Jason Morrow, JMT Productions, Luis Balderrama, who added "Oh Yeah," Mikhail at Punisher Fanatic, who liked a whole bunch of our pictures. That was on Tumblr. The person I mean, that was somebody's name. Never Again Is Now, Nick Spence, and Richard Field. Retweet frantic ones include 3 Geeks Podcast, Between the Pages blog, David A. Quinley, Ed Moore Teal Productions, Relatively Geeky Podcast Network, and Talk Nerdy to Me. Nuff Sayers include Billy Hines, Comics Enabler, who wrote, "My Punisher is Jim Lee, Corbin, Parlov, Kubert, Terran, Opena, Tex, Miller, Romita Jr., La Rosa, Jansen, Zafino, Zek." So many great ones. Also, Nod to the Pulverizer in What The by Hilary Barta. Love it. The Dead End Kid wrote, "Cosign on Dolph as top tier movie punny. An excellent little dumb film. Tarantino ripped a shit ton of shtick from that production for Kill Bill. That movie doesn't get enough due. Bless y'all." Julia Raoul wrote, "I was meant, though I do like to see homologous to punch his first appearance in Amazing Spider-Man 129 because there's something very dynamic about that cover. What the Punisher of a scope looked like. It's about to shoot Spider-Man. I know it's an image that sticks in my mind. My first experience getting into the Punisher was by way of the 94 Spider-Man animated series season 2, and I was like my real little taste of the Punisher as a Spider-Man villain. That's only later on around about the 2000s. I watched Tom Jane movie and the 1989 Golf Pusher. Like, I know the Punisher was watered down in the 94 Spider-Man animated series, but as a kid, I ate that shit up because I was cool, and places went Spider-Man down with 6 arms and he thinks he kidnapped the living vampire. I don't really get to see the Dolph Lundgren Punisher movie till like real late because it was a bit of a curiosity to me, and I always watch that asked me wondering if there was going to be a Spider-Man movie around that time and like the late 80s, early 90s. But yeah, it took me watching a watered down version of Spider-Man cartoon and a longer movie were going to get me interested in wanting to read The Punisher, and I was always fascinated by his little fights with Daredevil I liked. Keith G. Baker wrote, in which the fellas slander one of the greatest movies of our time, Fight Club. Well, it seems your old spine is catching up with Fire and Water when it comes to speaking things into existence because it's getting a 4K release. Finally, the Merry Marvel Marching Society, Billy Hines, The Hammer Strikes, Random Geeky Stuff, Julia Raoul, Keith G. Baker, and Superbound. Seems like a small list? Told you, shitter.
The Marvel Superheroes Podcast is in no way affiliated with or endorsed by Marvel Entertainment. All characters mentioned and audio clips employed are believed covered under fair use, with no infringement intended against their copyright holders. The views expressed in this podcast are assumed legitimate, truthful, and solely possessed by the speaker.